Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be previewing Week 2 for the Houston Texans preseason matchup against the Miami Dolphins, as tomorrow the Texans will take on the Miami Dolphins at 3 o'clock in Week 2 of the NFL preseason. I will be there tomorrow. I'm so excited for this game. You guys let me know in the comment section if you will be there. If so, I actually can't remember. I had it in my head, but I thought I remembered what section I'm in, but now I can't remember. It's 1:30 something. If you're close by, you can come see me, but actually I can't remember what exact section I'm in. It's 1:30 something. But yeah. So, yeah, tomorrow it's going to be the first home game of 2023 for the Houston Texans. Because last week they were on the road in New England, and now they're going to be at home against Miami. I mean, I'm excited. We're going to be talking about some injuries. Look out for some things tomorrow for some players. I think it's going to be really interesting. We're gonna look over at some starters that might be playing. Well, everybody will be playing for the Texans, but I'm necessarily looking at the Miami Dolphins, and that's what we're going to get to right away. So, Coach Mike McDaniel for the Miami Dolphins has not yet decided whether his starters will play in Saturday's second of 3 preseason games in Houston, Texas. Here is what he said. Loosely, I would expect players to play in the game. I don't know if he's serious or is that one of his jokes, because he's always joking. So I don't know if, honestly, reading that, I can't tell if that is, him being serious or if that's one of his sarcastic saying, Mike McDaniel is such a character. McDaniel said ahead of Thursday's joint practice with the Texans, I think I'll be able to make some of those decisions this afternoon regarding who, what, and when, and why. So yeah, I guess he hasn't really made some, decisions on who will be playing for the Miami Dolphins with starters. I mean, obviously Jalen Ramsey's not going to play; he's injured. I would doubt Tyreek Hill plays, but maybe one drive. I mean, we saw Patrick Mahomes play for the Chiefs one drive. I mean, you'd think Tua would play, but do you want to take a risk at him potentially getting hurt in the preseason? But do you also want, take a chance of him starting off the regular season without any reps in the preseason at all? That's something you have to think about. Does Jalen Waddle's also hurt, so he probably doesn't play. I don't think he'll play. So, what starters do play for the Miami Dolphins? Teron Armstead just got hurt as well. They have a lot of big stars and starters that are hurt right now with Jalen Waddle, Teron Armstead, and Jalen Ramsey. But does Tua or Tyreek Hill play? I don't know. I would say no, to be honest, just in my thinking. But we'll see. I would expect Mike White to be the starter for the Miami Dolphins tomorrow. But getting into the Houston Texans, let's look at, before we get into the Texans, let's get into something for both teams. And I'm talking about the head coaches, Mike McDaniel facing off against DeMeco Ryans. These are two guys that were on the same staff with San Francisco. DeMeco was the defensive coordinator, and Mike McDaniel was the offensive coordinator. It'll be fun to see these two guys face off against each other. I'm sure they're friends, or maybe they're not. I don't know. They were on the same staff in San Francisco. Two different sides of the ball, but, you're always, around that guy as well. Even if, the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, it's not like they never see each other. So that might be a, that might be a cool game for both guys to face off each other. They're from the same coaching tree with Kyle Shanahan, and it'll be interesting to see, both of those guys face off against each other, even if it's preseason. But yeah, I think it'll be fun to watch those two guys face off against each other, have their teams face off against each other tomorrow. Let's get into the Texans' injuries for tomorrow's game. Not like there are a couple players that we already know that are out. Linebacker Blake Cashman, who is dealing with a hamstring injury, and some of the players that have been out. Titus Howard's been out. A couple other players that are already on injured reserve. Christian Kirksey is expected not to play. So is wide receiver Jared Wayne. Here are the following players are questionable. Hassan Ridgeway, defensive tackle. Case Keenum, quarterback. I would not expect Case Keenum for the Houston Texans, third-string quarterback, to play in tomorrow's game. The Texans, they signed a quarterback. They signed E.J. Perry, a USFL quarterback, and also has played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Honestly, I feel like the Texans picked him up because they knew Case Keenum was not going to be able to play this week, as Case Keenum didn't fish Saturday's practice and was not on the field for Sunday's session. The quarterback was seen with a sleeve on his left leg at the end of practice, and this is regarding last Saturday and Sunday, and he didn't practice all week, I believe. Like I said, Jared Wayne is questionable. He's expected to be out for a couple weeks, and I don't think he'll play tomorrow. Thomas Booker, the fifth, is questionable with a wrist injury. He didn't practice last Sunday. Jarrett Patterson, fifth-round pick, is questionable with a leg injury. And who else is on the injury report? Christian Kirksey is not expected to play tomorrow. Linebacker Brandon Hill, the seventh-round draft pick for the Texans, is dealing with a hamstring injury. He's questionable. Andrew Beck, fullback, is questionable with a minor knee injury that he suffered during the Thursday's preseason game against the New England Patriots. And then Brevin Jordan, tight end, is also questionable with a hamstring injury. A lot of hamstring injuries. But yeah, I mean, so that is really the injury report. And good news for the Texans. Every starter on offense will be available, and I'm guessing same thing goes for the defense as well in tomorrow's game. C.J. Stroud, C.J. Stroud, of course, will play, but he played last week. But look at some of the guys on the offense that did not play in Thursday's game against the Patriots. Dameon Pierce at running back, Noah Brown and Robert Woods at wide receiver. Also, on the offensive line, Shaq Mason and Kenyon Green and Laremy Tunsil, which I think was a big problem. I think that was a big part of C.J. Stroud's struggles last Thursday. I'm not giving C.J. an excuse, but four of his five starting offensive linemen were not available when C.J. Stroud went out there Thursday night. Titus Howard was out. Laremy Tunsil and Shaq Mason were not playing, and Kenyon Green. So he was without four of his five starting offensive linemen. Only had one offensive starter out there, and that was the rookie draft pick Juice Scruggs. So that is probably one of the reasons why C.J. Stroud was getting pressure a lot from the Patriots defensive line. They're a good defensive line, and also CJ was missing 4 of the 5 of his starters on the O-line. But yeah, so let's see. So everybody on the offense and defense should be able to play tomorrow unless the guys that I mentioned on the injury report for the Houston Texans. I think it's going to be an interesting game to watch. I'm very excited as a Texans fan. I think CJ Stroud will play more. I think he will play better. I think he'll play way better going into this game. And I think it's going to be a good game for the Texans. I'm excited to see guys on the offense like C.J. Stroud and Dameon Pierce, and also wide receivers Noah Brown and Robert Woods, who are not a part of the offense on Thursday's first preseason game against the Patriots. And also rookie wide receivers Xavier Hutchinson and Tank Dell, looking to see more from them. Both guys had a great week of practice after both guys were really solid in their first game. Also interested in seeing stuff from other wide receivers like John Mechie. I want to see more from John Mechie in his second game. We only saw 1 reception in week 1. I want to see more from him. And also, maybe we can see a little bit more of probably the number 1 wide receiver, Nico Collins. As of right now, Nico Collins is the number 1 wide receiver. If not him, Robert Woods is. I think eventually it'll probably be Tank Dell. But as of for right now, either Robert Woods or Nico Collins is the wide receiver 1. Also, looking forward to seeing guys on the defense like Jimmy Ward, Jalen Petrie, and Derek Stingley Jr., and Steven Nelson, all in the secondary, and other guys like Desmond King and Shaquille Griffin on the secondary. Everybody else in the defense excited to see more from Will Anderson Jr. and everybody on that defensive line, especially some of the linebacker core, because this is a really scary defensive line and linebacker core. Excited to see what the Texans do, excited to go to this game, and excited to see the Houston Texans play at NRG Stadium for the first time since January into December. So can't wait. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Texans.